What is going on, my fellow vegan foodies? Welcome to another episode of the Fit Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Luis Medrano. This is the place for plant-based foodies that want to feel great, lose weight, and elevate their lives. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me on today's episode. In today's episode, we're talking about vegan bulking versus vegan cutting and food swaps that you can make to be successful in each phase. So let's go ahead and jump right in, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this live on this new podcast episode. This is the place for plant-based foodies that want to lose weight, feel great, and elevate their lives. Guys, vegan bulking versus cutting, food swaps that you can do, that you can use to be successful in each phase. Now, before we jump in, before we get into the actual food swaps and what you can do, I want to just touch briefly on the difference between vegan bulking and vegan cutting. So essentially, bulking means you're putting on weight. Now, why would you want to put on weight? Well, essentially, it's all about putting on muscle. When I say weight, I'm talking about lean muscle mass. Can totally be done on a vegan diet. And what that basically essentially means is you're eating more calories and you burn so that you're able to put on body weight, put on lean muscle. And the term for this is bulking. So you do that with obviously with the vegan diet, can be definitely done with bulking. Now, cutting means your aim is to shed body fat when you're cutting, which again means you're eating less than your body burns on a daily basis. This is how you lose body fat. And so when you're bulking, you want to gain muscle. When you are cutting, you want to shed body fat, right? That is the basic difference. Now, in between that, you also have vegan maintenance phase, maintenance, where you just want to maintain. If you're happy with your weight, your body looks, when you look in the mirror and you like where you're at, you reached your body weight goal, then maintenance is where you maintain your current body weight. That's where you want to stay for a while, and then maybe later on enter another bulking, putting on muscle, or cutting phase, shedding body fat. So that's essentially the difference. And before we get into the food swaps, guys, I have 5 very easy food swaps that you can do, that you can use so that you can be successful in these phases. I want to talk about what the primary focus should be before you even consider any of these food swaps, right? So number one, regardless of any phase that you're in, if you're in a bulking phase or if you're in a shedding phase or maintenance phase, it does not matter. Number one priority should always be protein, vegan protein. And nowadays, there is no excuse for how you can get protein. There's no reason why you can't get enough protein on a vegan diet. It's totally doable, very easy to do, in fact, with high protein sources available out there, easily available out there, especially nowadays. And you go to main, pretty much any main grocery store in your town, and you'll definitely find high protein vegan sources like tofu, tempeh, and seitan. Protein powders. I mean, there's so many other options, supplementary protein sources as well. So there's no reason why no one should be struggling to get their protein source on a vegan diet. So number one priority is, regardless of the phase, make sure you're prioritizing your protein. You are getting enough protein in each meal and throughout the day for your specific body type. There's no magic number that is for everybody. Everybody's body weight and body goals are different. So as long as you're achieving your protein intake for your specific body goals, then you're fine. You're going to reach your protein goals easily on a vegan diet. So that is number one. Before we get into the main food swaps, is make sure you're prioritizing protein in every meal. And I'm actually going to post a story right after this live here on how to build large filling meals that still allow you to shed body fat by prioritizing protein, by making sure that your protein target is hit in your meal first. And by doing that throughout the day, if you have 3 or 4 meals a day, you'll easily hit your protein goal for the whole day. So that's the idea here, right? So now, with that said, let's get into let's get right into the food swaps so that you can easily make these changes to essentially hack your macros for the day so that you're able to hit your protein. And not only that, but you're able to successfully put on weight or lose body fat, right? Depending on what phase you're in. Now, number one is the difference between rice and veggies. So if you're in a bulking phase, you essentially want to consume rice as a main carb source versus veggies. Now, I'm not saying don't have veggies at all. You should always have veggies, especially greens. But when you're building a meal, if you're in a bulking phase, you want a big chunk of your carb source to be rice because rice is calorie dense and higher carb. So obviously, if you're going to be bulking and putting on muscle, you need to eat more. And so rice is an excellent source. Now, if you're cutting, meaning you want to shed body fat, leave the rice out and focus on a big plate of veggies instead. Not only are you going to be getting a bunch of nutrients, but you'll be able to get a lot of fiber and you're going to get to eat more food because veggies are low in calories, right? So if you're cutting, it won't feel like you're eating less food because you're basing your meals around vegetables and you get to eat more. So it feels like you're having big bowls and big plates of food, even though you're going to overall be eating less calories. So bulking, go for the rice. If you're cutting, leave the rice out and go for the veggies, right? You can always include both, but keep in mind that when you have specific body goals, bulking or cutting, you want to aim for high calorie dense foods when you're bulking and low calorie dense foods when you're cutting, rice versus veggies, right? Second swap, plant milk versus water, right? And I'm specifically referring to when you're like making smoothies or protein puddings or oatmeal. If you are bulking, go for the plant milk, oat milk, almond milk, coconut milk, soy milk. You get more calories, you get more nutrients, you get more protein when you include milk in those types of dishes. Now, when you're cutting, of course you could include milk in your daily meal plan, but to make it easier to have more food and not, get liquid calories when you're trying to cut weight or cut body fat on a vegan diet, go for water instead. If you're making your smoothies, put water or ice. If you're making your oatmeal, put water. You can always, sweeten up your oatmeal, add a pinch of salt, make it flavorful by adding berries and so on, but use water to cook your oatmeal instead of milk, right? If you're making a protein pudding, which I love, by the way, super easy to make, use water instead of milk. So just another hack, another swap. Water for if you're cutting weight, milk, soy milk, almond milk, plant milk if you're looking to put on weight or bulk, right? That's the second food swap. Food swap number three, high carb fruit versus low carb fruit. So as an example, a high carb fruit would be like bananas, right? One banana will give you more calories and more carbs than say a bowl of blueberries or a bowl of strawberries, right? Those are the difference. They're both very good, very healthy foods, but if you're looking to bulk and put on muscle, aim for the higher carb, higher calorie fruits like bananas. Then if you're trying to cut or shed body fat, go for the lower calorie foods like strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, right? Oranges, things like that, right? So all very healthy food, but understand the difference. It's going to be much easier to bulk on a vegan diet and put on muscle when you go for the higher calorie fruits, and it's going to be much easier to lose body fat when you're going for the lower calorie fruits. And the bonus thing is because you're going for the lower calorie fruits when you're shedding body fat, you get to eat more volume, more food. So it doesn't feel like you're having just these tiny portions, right? You get to eat more food. So that is food swap number three. Food swap number four is using beans in your meals versus seitan, right? So beans are an excellent food, a powerhouse food, a nutrient and fiber rich food, which does have a good amount of quality protein in them as well, but they are more calorically dense. So when you're looking to put on weight and building muscle, you want to aim to have beans instead of seitan. Although seitan has its place because of its high protein content, but because beans are a calorie dense, carb rich, protein rich food, it's easier to eat more food without stuffing yourself when you focus on foods like beans. Now, seitan, amazing macros when it comes to protein. You're going to end up, for example, a little serving of seitan is mostly protein, very low in fat, very low in carbs. So it's easy to have a meal that is high in protein, but yet low in calories when you're including seitan versus beans in that meal, right? So again, beans for bulking, seitan for cutting. Easy food swaps to achieve whatever it is you're working on for that phase, right? And last but not least, I mean, there's many, we could spend hours on this, but I wanted to give you 5 easy swaps that you can include in your meal plans so that you are, including these in your meal plan and being able to be successful in your bulking or cutting as a vegan on a vegan diet. The last food swap is your favorite cereal versus oats, right? So your favorite cereal for me, I'm a huge fan of like the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cheerios. There's so many vegan options out there now, even protein-rich options. But all those fun cereals, like I like my bowl of cereal with milk. I've always, ever since a kid, I've grown up just loving my bowls of cereal. Now, if you're bulking, if you're on a vegan bulk, this is a great option because you can essentially have a nice big bowl of cereal and milk, and it'll be high in calories, high in carbs, which is what you want when you are looking to put on muscle and put on weight. Now, if you're shedding body fat and if you're cutting, you don't want to go for those types of foods because you're going to end up having these tiny ass little bowls, and it's going to feel like you're, eating in three spoonfuls, you're done with that cereal, and that's no fun, right? Instead, go for oats because oats, you can build a nice big bowl of oatmeal with your, peanut butter or berries or whatever toppings you like that are gonna, meet your goals. And it feels like you're having more food. And oats are a great source of carbs, protein as well, nutrients, other nutrients as well. And especially when you top it with things like berries, you get even more nutrients and antioxidants and things like that. But for bulking, go for your fun cereals. For cutting, you want to go for foods like oatmeal. Now, you could definitely include oatmeal when you're bulking as well. It just means you're going to have way more of it. And some people just don't feel like they can eat that much food. So you want to go when you're bulking for more calorie dense food versus low calorie foods, like the difference between cereal and oatmeal. So easy swaps, guys. And do these if you want to bulk or cut. Now, if you're looking to maintain, I want to touch on this a little bit. If you're looking to maintain is where you're neither eating more calories than you burn or eating less calories than you burn, but you're basically eating around the same amount of food that your body burns every day. Now, there's no exact number. It's a range, right? Because there's no way to figure out exactly perfect. There's a way to get really close. But when you're in a maintenance, you could kind of play around with any of these options. If you're a fan of cereal, you could do that and have your portions just right for your body goals to maintain. If you're a fan of oats, you can do that too. If you're a fan of high calorie fruits, you can include that too, because maintenance means kind of in between. So just take these food swaps and use them based on where you're at for your current goal, right? So hope you found this helpful, guys. Easy food swaps for vegan bulking versus vegan cutting. Remember, bulking means you're putting on lean muscle, you're putting on weight. Cutting means you're shedding body fat, you're eating a little less food than you are burning every day. But if you follow these swaps, it makes your dieting phase, your cutting phase, much more doable and sustainable because you're actually going to be eating a large amount of food and not feel like you're on a diet, right? Not feel like you're having these tiny portions that just make your life miserable, right? You want to actually enjoy your food, enjoy food that you're eating. So hopefully you enjoy this new podcast episode. Guys, hop onto the podcast, Fit Foodie Podcast on Apple and Spotify. I believe this is episode number 35. Provide a lot of information on the vegan diet and how to lose weight, feel great, mindset, how to elevate your lives on a vegan lifestyle. So a lot of value out there. If you found this live in this episode valuable, go check that out. Much love. Peace. I wish you an amazing day. Whatever time you're listening to this, have a great rest of your day, morning, afternoon, or night. Much love, and I'll see you in the next live on the next episode. Peace and love.